Welcome to my mess. What's up, everyone? Today's going to be a special video. I'm kind of redoing my main studio. This is it. I'll give you guys a tour in a second. But I've been thinking about switching up to this guy. Right, you may have seen that last Compact Creations. If you didn't, check this video out. But I'm really digging this thing, and I think it'll be really cool in here running everything. I have a bunch of stuff, so I just kind of wanted to walk through some of the steps and whatnot of how I'm going to connect everything hardware wise to a computer, record stuff and whatnot, and just kind of hopefully drop some tips and tricks along the way. I don't know. I just wanted to film this because I'm going to do it. I've been neglecting my studio down here, and yeah, so let's get into it. Okay, couple disclaimers. If you all see something like not plugged in or whatever, feel free to roast me. Just know that this isn't fully done. It's always a work in progress, so something not connected, don't worry, don't trip, I'm working on it. Disclaimer number 2, cable management. Oh my god, it's a mess in here. Again, I'm not done with everything. I got cables everywhere. They're literally everywhere. Look at the floor. So, again, I'm working on it. Alright, let me give you guys a quick second as to how everything works real quick before we change literally everything up into this new setup. Going from left to right, this is kind of my spare table, right? I got an analog rhythm down there, which I am not using because I have the Digitact. MPC 60, workhorse, pocket operators, friend 707 that I'm borrowing, Devin, shout out him. I'll link his YouTube down below. He does some dope stuff on Electron, and he works for Electron. One of my prized possessions, the MC303, which I use on its own. A lot of this stuff I kind of use by itself, or I take upstairs to use in my Studio B, I guess. Digitact, Octatrack, mainly use this live, don't use it so much in the studio. This I use in the studio a lot. Got my Eurorack stuff here, basics. I got another spare case up there, another case behind me. Base Station 2, badass analog synth, especially with the new update, does paraphonic. Tape stuff in case I want to do tape. Got my Peak. Got my drum brute, which I haven't done much on, but I am still really excited about, so don't think I hate this thing. Another workhorse of mine, the Avalon Bassline, one of my favorite things, into one of my favorite pedals, the Super Chorus. Got pushed to just because my laptop is way over this way. SL Mark III, which I'll probably end up moving because I got to get it ready for a show for Novation. This is my definite prized possession, the Oberheim Expander, aka the most expensive thing that I own. All my rack stuff, using the Claret to run all my audio stuff, along with this Octapre Dynamic, the Mark II, because it has compressors on every channel, which is awesome for me. Korg M1, JV1080, TX802, you know, basic stuff. MPC 2000. This little keyboard thing, I forget who makes it, the CME X key. Pyramid, new compressor I just got as well that I got to hook up. O-Coast, and then a bunch of random stuff. So, yeah, there's still stuff on shelves and whatnot, but yeah, that's all the stuff I have now. So now you might be wondering how all this stuff is set up. If we look under here, we got the Elysium U388C. What this is a USB 3.0 hub. So in Ableton, if we go and look at my Ableton session right now, basically everything is on its own channel and it's all named across the top. So I was using down here Ableton to be my main sequencer to sequence my entire studio. So by the end of this video, I'm hoping to put all of this MIDI stuff on here and have this run it. And I'm using all 8 MIDI outs to control hardware, right? But the crazy thing is I'm also using USB to control some stuff when it's easier, so I have more control. The reason I want this is because within Ableton you get latency on different channels per MIDI track. So with this, I can actually adjust the latency of each channel per instrument and how much latency it needs or doesn't need. So this has saved my life, and I'm probably going to shoot myself in the foot by trying to do this. But that doesn't mean I'm going to be ditching Ableton, because if I scroll over to the right, I have all those same channels but as audio. And yes, I know you can use the external instrument rack thing, but I just hate using it. So instead I make independent audio channels. So with this, I can leave all this stuff, but get rid of this stuff here. Okay, so first what I want to do is figure out a spot or a position to put the pyramid in. I'm thinking right over here, just because it's close to all of my synths. It's in this nice little corner, and I can basically reach everything if I need to change anything or change some settings. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that and move the SL right now. I'm kind of sad I'm gonna move it because I really like the full-size keyboard, which I don't have on the Score, but I'm hoping I can get away with the smart pads using the chord mode and whatnot on there. So we'll see. I may end up bringing this back. Got my two main MIDI cables here, MIDI out A and MIDI out B out of the SL. So I'm just gonna be able to plug these straight into the Scorp, and hopefully everything will work. I hope. Ugh. Big boy. All right, so another thing I need to take into consideration is that the Scorp's power supply is this, right? A micro USB or mini, I don't know the name, a USB to just a power brick. But it can be powered off of USB. But the part about that that's kind of, I don't know if it's a bad thing. Actually, the reason I think it's bad is because this is awesome, because it's so long and I can have this anywhere. But if I use this USB and power it off of my computer, I can also utilize the sequencer to sequence stuff in my computer. Why would I want to do that? I have a bunch of hardware, right? And MIDI out. Just in case I run out of throughs on my synthesizers, I can then go back and utilize the Elysium and Ableton to sync stuff in case I run out of ports, basically. So instead of using the stock power supply, I'm just going to be powering this off of my laptop, which I have a hub over here powered, which goes all the way to my computer to control all this stuff. So let's go ahead and plug that into. Time to find a USB cable. All right. Boom. Nailed it. So that's up. Now I need to figure out to what and where do these two MIDI cables go. All right, first up, orange cable is going to the out. Why is it going to an out? That's not correct. Okay, well, I guess I'm just gonna unplug that. Oh man, I can't believe I'm doing this. This is setting myself up. So now I just need to figure out where this goes, and I got a spare MIDI cable. Awesome. So this first cable goes. All right, looks like I'm starting from scratch. We have the pyramid. Where do we want to go? One thing to note in a setup like this is that it doesn't matter what MIDI channel comes first or what synth you like best or anything like that. Whatever channel it's on doesn't matter. Wherever it is in the chain of your synths also doesn't matter. Don't think of it as in this one's my favorite, it needs to be channel 1. Think of which synths have a MIDI through. The MIDI through port is the most important part. Instead of having to rely on something like this, where it takes one MIDI in and splits it to two MIDI outs, if something has a MIDI through out port, you can just continue the chain. So whatever doesn't have a MIDI through, try to expect that to be at the end of the MIDI chain, because you won't be able to continue anything else. Think of it as a courtyard or a dead end or something like that on a street. Not a courtyard, that doesn't make any sense. Alright, so like I just mentioned, I need to go and figure out what has a MIDI through. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. Yo, manufacturers, put MIDI through on stuff. Please, it's just a mirror of MIDI in. It shouldn't cost you that much more. I'll pay the extra $10 to $20 at the store so I don't have to deal with this. No, yes, no. The Digitact has it through. Peak has it through. And that's basically it. So I can go into the Digitact, into the Peak, and then into one of these, and that's it. Okay, so I know I said I was going to go into Digitact then Peak, but for the sake of cable length and whatnot, I'm actually going to go into the Peak first, because the Scorp is going to be right there to here, short, easy, and then from there to there, split to Drum Brute and Avalon. So I'm going to put this on MIDI out B, just so I can, B is the right, A is the left kind of thing. It's just a mental game at this point. So we got the Peak input, then we're going through into the Digitact. We're going to go through through the dig attack, come on, into the splitter. Got a red little light signal. It's a good sign. The through box, you have through 1 through 2. Doesn't matter again. All it's doing is splitting this and doubling it. That's all it's doing. Cool. Done. Got to change some settings on the dig attack. Alright, let's see. MIDI config, sync, clock, send. We want to send and we also want to receive. Well, actually, you know it's crazy. This MIDI in, all these MIDI settings basically don't apply to the through, but because it's the second output, I think I have control over its actual port. So through port configuration, just be MIDI. That's all I need. But I want to make sure that it's receiving the stuff that it needs to. So the input from USB, we need to change that to MIDI. Okay, sync, receive clock, send clock. Cool, cool. So it's still not working, but I figured it out. On the pyramid, I forgot to send the clock. So we're dealing with MIDI out, B, start, stop, send, and then USB sync, send. That's all I want. So, yay! All right, cool. Check this. So we're going MIDI out of the pyramid, into the peak, into the dig attack, into here. So I just changed those settings. If I say input channel sync in from MIDI, I'm gonna press play on here. Boom, you see that? This is running. Let me go to a blank pattern. If I stop this, this is running, that's running, but this isn't moving. So what are we doing here? Sync, MIDI. Boom, there it is. Press play here, everything starts going. And that's just MIDI B. So now we got to figure out MIDI A, which is the left side of my studio. Oh. Okay, so this is going to be the left side of my studio, including the expander, which is dead center because it's tight. Okay, so as you can see, majority of my rack stuff is already numbered, right? We got 4, 5, 6, and I'm pretty sure that the TX802 is on 7 because it was the last thing I got. It all starts with the M1. So what I need to do now is take the M1's MIDI input, I guess you can say, and start with that and continue the chain because these all have MIDI throughs, which allows it to be chained up all the way up into this guy here. Luckily, I haven't changed anything on my Ableton settings, so I can actually see what's going where. So I'm going to find where the expander is. In this case, it's channel 1, right? Expander 1 on the Elysium, which is this one right here. So this cable here, this exact cable should be what's going into the input of the expander, which means I should be able to take this and plug this into output A of the pyramid. Dang it, it's not that. This one? No, there's no choice. Wait, then which one is it? A. Oh, it is this one. I'm tripping. But then, why does it... Did I change the way this is set up? Okay. Change of plans. Man, can of worms. So now we're going to go, everything I said earlier about channel 1. No idea where channel 1 goes. Ignore that. I'm just going to go out of A on the pyramid into the MIDI input of the expander. So for this next part, this shouldn't have changed as did the expander, but the M1R should still be the same MIDI channel as it is in Ableton, which it says it's channel 4. This here, the silver guy. Oh man, I have a bad feeling about this. I don't think that's... Well, you know what? Why don't I test this? So it's not plugged in. Cool. My previous studio setup that I mentioned was a complete sham. Maybe it'll be easier if I just pull this out because it's on wheels. Really bad wheels. Like, really bad apparently. Okay, so technically if I've done this correctly, the expander should now be in a chain with my rack gear. And since this stuff is already on channel 4, 5, 6, and 7, I could set the expander to anything except those. And on top of that, this little chain here is running out of the MIDI output A of the pyramid. So let's try and test this. Track 1, channel, it's going to be on A1. This here should be on zone, CV MIDI, where is it at? Zone input channel 1. So technically, there it is. Oh, I need to tune this thing. Let's go test another MIDI channel. So let's do 4. That should be the Corgan one. And it doesn't work. Let me make sure that the MIDI channel is set accordingly here. Oh my. It actually does work. I was just being dumb and forgot to go into the step sequencer mode. So all I was doing was playing and unmuting and muting tracks. So channel 4, M1. So then in that same sense, channel 5 should be the JV1080. Cool. And channel 6 is the Orbit, which I honestly don't use that much anymore. Got a little burnt out. So skipping that guy, going straight to the TX802, which should be on 7. So let's see. I think the TX802 is on its own MIDI channel, not on one within that chain. Again, remember, everything I'm saying is technically a lie because it keeps on changing this entire video. What would be the easiest way to do this? I got an idea. So remember how earlier I mentioned that it doesn't matter what synth is on what channel, right? So right now the chain starts with the expander, then goes through this. But this is out of the chain, but I want it to be a part of the chain. Instead of diving through here again with all the spiders and black widows, what I can do is make this the beginning of the chain and then go through from here into the expander, which is already set up, because I could reach this without having to die from a brown widow poison bite thing. So I need a MIDI cable. So this will go to the TX802 first, out of A into the TX802. So now that the TX is hooked up, the TX is on 1, right? That's now it's not on 1. It's the first step in the chain. From there, I need to go through the TX to the expander, which will then complete the rest of the chain. Now let's retest our original setup. Oh, it works, and that's the most like angelic choir sound to show that it works. Okay, channel 5 should then be the JV, which it's not. Figured it out. Had the TX802 patched to go to some effects which weren't plugged in on my patch bay. With all that being said, that's the TX802. Let me just go ahead and put some basic thing in. Right. TX802, expander, JV1080, Korg M1, and the Orbit if I wanted to use it, which I don't. And that's going to be it for MIDI output A. Y'all ever mess with these? These like $3 IKEA laptop stands? Alright, so now you're probably wondering, where do we go from here, right? What do we do? What are some of the finer details? Basically, the way I've kind of set this up is that A is going to, for the most part, be my polyphonic sounds. And for this side, which is my MIDI B output of the pyramid side, it's set up a little differently. Basically because a lot of these things have sequencers on them, which I really enjoy using. For example, the Drum Brute, solid sequencer. The Dig Attack, really, really good sequencer. Avalon Bassline, really weird sequencer, but cool. A lot of happy accidents. So with that being said, peak again is the beginning. I'm going to set this to MIDI channel 9. The reason I'm doing that is because the Dig Attack, the tracks live on their own MIDI channels. So they're on MIDI channels 1 through 8. And I just kind of want to leave it that way because mentally I'm already used to that. So, don't fix what's not broken. From there, that's going into the Avalon, which I believe I'll set it to MIDI 15 just for the hell of it. Why not? And that's really it. All this stuff's on its own syncing channel. If I come over here, I should theoretically be able to make a song now. So press play here. This is going let's just give myself a kick drum, right? Let's go here, step, accent. Easy. That's track 1. Of course, I'm gonna have to build a completely default template for all of this stuff so that when I turn this on, it'll just click up and everything's going. And the pyramid's actually really, really good at doing that. So let's just say track 2 happens to be, let's see, track 2 will be MIDI B, channel 9, which is peak, coming in a little hot. Let's go minor. Let's go D minor. Change the track length. Cool, so let's see. Yo, this is fun already. Done. So now I can use the sequencer on the Avalon. Blank pattern, kind of throwing whatever. This guy ain't plugged in. Here, let me switch to the other filter. Maybe get weird. Give myself some weird times here. Now let's go in here and we'll go track 3 and let's use the JV1080. That's on track 5. So here we'll say channel 5, MIDI A, scale, minor, D. Length, 4 bars. Yo, this is so tight. If I press play on the pyramid, watch this. I have everything routed into its own channel. So I can solo just the drum brute, maybe just the Avalon, the JV1080, or peak. Everything's on its own thing. I can just go and select all of this. From here to here, make sure it's record enabled, hit record. And if I really wanted, I have stuff synced already, but I can sync the pyramid. So now everything is being recorded in its own channel. This is awesome. I cannot wait to make music in here. Alright, cool. That's basically it when it comes to this studio setup. I know it was a bit rushed. It was a bit hectic at times. If you guys have any questions or anything, leave them down in the comments below. I'll try and get to them as best as I can, especially for a video like this. Or if this video sparked any ideas of what you'd like to see here in my studio or my workarounds or anything like that, leave them down in the comments below, and it'd be great. I'm always looking for ideas for videos to shoot and put out more content. Speaking of content, if you want to see more stuff like this, especially on a weekly basis, feel free to subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you did enjoy this video, I'd appreciate the thumbs up. And if you didn't, give me a thumbs down and let me know how I can make this video better for you to enjoy. With all that out of the way, you guys can always follow me on my Instagram, where I post a lot of other videos in here or in my studio upstairs, and there may be a piece of gear in there that you want to see a video on, so hit me up on my IG and let me know about it. But y'all know the drill, and that's to share the love, share the knowledge. Knowledge is power. Peace. Oh my god, how is this lid on here? Ah, Jesus. Just threw my back out.